We have been borrowing, not just borrowing money, we have been borrowing from the future. We have been borrowing from the prosperity and stability of our children. We have been borrowing and not replacing the capacity of the earth. We've eaten our corn seed. Together, we have to face these realities. Our economy must change, and it will change in the next 5 or 10 years. Our society can go two ways. We can retreat into the fear, the isolation, the self-blame, the scapegoating, the Islamic banking conspiracy, the fortress, the hunkering down. Or we can move toward community, shared abundance, strengthening what we have together, collective action. We have ventured to the limits of acquisitive greed. Our culture has enthroned it. Our political leaders have encouraged it. The rules of the economy have institutionalized it. But it has brought us to the brink, and we know it. What are the alternatives? What is the vision? What is the covenantal economy? The purpose of the economy is to support the flourishing of human life and the care of creation. It is to aid us, the economy, to care for one another and this gift that we've received, this ecological bounty. One of the precepts of this teaching is the economy should be organized to serve people, not people organized to serve the economy. The moral measure is not how the rich or the middle class are faring, but how those who are most vulnerable are faring. It's not the gross domestic product, it's how those who are most vulnerable are doing. This is a solidarity economy that recognizes our true interdependence and leaves no one behind. The election of our president is good news. I'm heartened that he's got some big ideas, that he's talking about a Green New Deal. I think that's absolutely right. We need to make massive investments in infrastructure, retrofitting our old buildings. Maybe we can even get a grant to retrofit our building here. It's a no-brainer, right? We need to sort of make these bold investments to reduce our dependence on energy. It'll create millions of jobs in the local economy. But I don't think we can wait for Barack or any leader. The changes we need to make are substantial, and we need to begin to prepare ourselves personally and spiritually for those changes. I'm excited that here at First Church we're starting a Common Security Club. These are clubs that are starting around the country, people coming together. It's sort of part study group, part mutual aid, part political action. And I put a pink flyer over there about the Common Security Club we're starting here at First Church. It's obvious that we need to learn how did we get into this fix, but it's most important we learn how to get our mutual aid muscles, if you will, back into shape. The premise is that our mutual aid muscles are a little bit out of practice. Our ability to exchange gifts and practice neighborly generosity may have atrophied a bit in the last generation. So it's important to start simple with real small weights. Some of the Common Security Clubs have started bulk food buying clubs, or made pacts to get out of debt, or organized parties to weatherize each other's homes. We already do a lot of those practices here in this community. I think of Carol Bell with her list of food recruiting people to cook for those in need, or Blue Jean Sunday. Think about what Lori and others organized. 20 people, 20 bags of leaves in 20 minutes. There's examples of many hands at work. There's obviously things we can't do for each other. We can't be a bank. We can't be a senior housing development. We can't be Social Security or food stamps. That's why the organizing comes in. That's where we need to come together to press our elected officials to make sure that the economy works for everyone. In conclusion, I think Barack Obama has the potential to be a transformative leader, and that's because he knows that it's not about him. I think come April, it will be obvious that the economic crisis is not going away and that there are limits to what a president can do. But what makes Obama potentially transformative is what he calls forth in us, what muscles he will ask us to use, what capacities he will request. His success will be how effectively he calls us toward covenantal life. Here is more good news. We are waiting to be called. We've been waiting for a while. After 9/11, we were told, go shopping. We were waiting to be called. The vast majority of the people in this country are hungry for a higher purpose. We know we can't borrow anymore from the future. We know there is work to be done. We know that we and our neighbors are in need. We know we are tired and anxious and need to see some sign of a higher power. We need to see others stepping up, and that will pull out the capacity in us. We are waiting to be called to enlarge our hearts, to use parts of our minds and bodies that have not been exercised or tested. We are waiting to be enlarged and lifted. We know that that's what Barack needs to do. We don't need to wait. Let us call it forth in each other. Remember my friend Edith. Why did she burst into tears? She told me later it was because she felt held, not physically held, but held by us, her friends, that in our most anxious moments, we must hold one another, remind one another of what we have together. We need to find those who have been left behind and hold them. If that means we knock on the doors of the neighbors we have never met, then that is what we must do. We must build a solidarity economy that leaves no one behind. We should never again let the voices of acquisitive greed tell us what is important or how an economy should be organized. We should banish the myth of the autonomous individual and embrace the full reality of our covenantal existence. We are not alone. We are nothing without each other. Church is a place where we can hold one another and let no one slip away. It is the foundation for exploring what covenant means and taking its lessons and values into the public square. It is where we can remind one another of both the hardship and the abundance of God's gifts and the abundance of what we hold together. And I know I would love it, and our final hymn, which is 121, We'll Build a Land, I would love to hear it sung as loud as you can.